G'day and welcome to Daily Insights and Storytellings with me, Moon Willow. It's a pleasure to have you all with me today. Bear with me. For some reason, when I do these recordings, the picture stops, although the whole reading goes through onto an audio. But not the whole thing will go up then onto YouTube, which I find quite weird and perturbing. So this is actually the third time I've done this morning, and I'm hoping that actually it comes all the way through today, which is why I feel a little bit discombobulated. But every time I do the Daily Insights, I start afresh, so it's crystal, whichever crystal comes out, and then the cards and the readings. And I'm feeling quite discombobulated because the previous one I felt was really good, and it's just not stayed on there. And I'm not sure whether this is actually going to stay on now that I've rambled in this particular way. But I'm going to continue and see what happens. So while I remember, please hit that subscribe button, and if you're interested in having an individual reading, just log through to the website, which I'll put in the bottom of the description, and there is a form on there that you can get in contact with me to organise a reading if you would like. So I would like you all to focus on the crystal bag, and we'll see which one comes out. So we've got green aventurine, so it's back to the heart chakra. It's really weird. I have two crystals in there for the heart. One is the rose quartz and the other is this one, the green aventurine. So it's still very much about learning how to love ourselves clearly, and how we can then express that out in the world, but also how we feel love coming back in is what's coming through for me at the moment. I really love this piece of crystal. I know I'm getting a little bit sidetracked, but I found that really beautiful, and it's got bands in it, so, and I think that makes it look even more lovely. And the reason why I've sort of noticed that is that there are times when we feel that our heart is quite dark. Well, I'll speak from my own personal experience, that sometimes I feel that there's sort of a darkness in there, and I want to try and hide that. But actually that becomes a part of my story, and that's a part of who I am. And I don't feel that any of us are particularly negative or evil, that it's just a part of our experiences in life and how that actually sifts and settles. It's a bit like cutting a tree trunk and having the rings in there, that you can tell the age of the tree by looking at the rings, and you can see what sort of year it's been, whether it's been a very fertile year or not. And don't ask why I'm telling this story. I just end up being guided in different storytellings, and this is the one that's coming through at the moment. So like with the crystal, there's different bands in there, and I feel that our hearts have different bands as well, that there are some years where we feel really dark and quite depressed, and those feel darker. And then there are other times when our hearts are quite light, and we're feeling a lot of love. We're experiencing love from outside, and we're beginning to learn how to love ourselves inside. And it's like we have this story. I feel that we can't, it's hard, we don't know how, or we don't know what love is without experiencing it from the outside. But actually, I strongly believe that we all have the ability to actually find and love ourselves without outside influences sometimes. And it's learning that we are good enough, that we have a loving heart within, And as we begin to learn how to love ourselves, even with negative thought processes, that we actually put that out there, so that comes back in and it's attracted into our field, and we experience that more and more. So, and we'll go to the cards. So if you just focus on the cards for me, and we'll see what comes out. Yeah, that one wanted to play. And that one. Oh, there you go. We've got 3 in one go. And that'll be that way. So today's cards. Okay, so we've got letters, a little child, and a house. So we'll start with the letters. So it's about information coming in, and we're still waiting on more information to come through before we feel comfortable. So within this, and having the green aventurine, I think it's that information of actually sitting in our heart space and hearing the thoughts of it, which I know sounds weird, but it does happen, and just realizing that we don't need to have that external source, that we have the internal source of feeling really loved. We can love ourselves, and it's like that's the bit of information that comes in. And if there's the darker parts in there, it's like, what information does that hold? What was it that actually produced that darkness at that time? Or yeah, that's exactly what's coming through, is what was it in that moment that helped us feel so dark? It could have been just thought processes at the time that just fed into that really dark negative feeling. So it's waiting for information to come in, where we're sort of trying to work out what gives us our heart song. Don't ask me what that is. I don't know. It's just come in. It's like having a heart song, and giving us that joy, and so linking in with yesterday's, with the sacral and the creativity, what brings us joy. And the more joy we experience, the more creative we are. It's like it brings that joy feeling to our hearts. So it's that key, it's that letter that comes in. So the child is new beginnings. So it's seeing ourselves, seeing our heart in a new way. And with that bits of information that come in, that it actually, sorry, something came up on the top of my phone which distracted me slightly. So new beginnings. So that newness of heart, that newness of awareness and appreciation of our heart, that actually noticing the bits that come in that make us feel more joy or less joy, and noticing that we can actually look at it as a new way of actually supporting our heart, supporting our love of life. As I say, going back into the sacral of yesterday and that creativity, it's finding that joy and loving aspect of it. And then going into the house, it's back into that body, it's back into that understanding that it's what brings us joy is our powerhouse. And actually gives us that extra energy, that extra get up and go, that it's like if we've got that negative thought process going off, or we're stuck in the darker sides of our heart, it makes it more difficult just to get up in the morning, to actually move through our day. So it's actually recognizing where those thoughts are coming from. Do they actually belong to us, or do they belong to somebody else? Putting that into earth, and allowing our hearts to actually have that new experience, that new beginning, that actually every day when we wake up, it's a new beginning, it's a new way we can look at life. and actually how we're supported within and protected within our heart space. And our house is our bodies within this. And if we if we love ourselves, if we have that joy, we're more inclined to look after our bodies better. That actually, if we're feeling really dark, and get caught in that really dark space in our hearts, then we're less inclined to want to eat. We're less inclined to make good choices of how to nurture our bodies, how to have a good immune system. And then our bodies start reacting and responding within that. So we're more, if we're focusing on the negatives, then we'll notice we've got an ache, and we can end up getting into a critical cycle over that. Well, my body's not working properly, I'm just falling apart. And it's learning how to love our bodies, that maybe they don't do what we would like them to do, like me burping halfway through this. But actually knowing that gas needed to escape, that I needed to be actually talking. So that's sort of come out. I needed to shift something so that I could actually communicate with you all, and that's all right. And it's learning that our bodies do sort of get a bit older and don't work in a way that we'd like them to. But if we get stuck in that cycle, they're more inclined to actually take on that negative energy, and we can create illness within that. And it becomes more difficult to love our bodies within that, especially in today's society where there's such a pressure to look a certain way, that it's not okay to have excess weight, etc. But it's all right if your body is doing what it needs to do. And it's also loving our bodies and giving ourselves space to be able to have a bath, or just brush our teeth in the morning, or before we go to bed at night. It's just looking after our bodies the best way we can, so that our hearts actually have a decent house to live in, and one that we can. It has that link for me. It has the link between our bodies and our heart, that actually if we love the different aspects of our body, then that actually they will work better, which makes us feel better, and it has that particular momentum, really. So I hope that's resonating for someone out there. And green aventurine. So yeah, so an overall at the end is that there will be information coming through soon in regards to our hearts, and it will feel like it's a new beginning. So if we actually start focusing on the positive thoughts and the positive creativity and the positive parts that our body can do, that will feel new and actually help us sort of have a better house, have a better body. And by that I mean having a body that actually works to nurture and support, and we can nurture and support our bodies so that our hearts have somewhere safe to stay in. So, as to say, I hope that makes sense to someone out there. And we'll see what sound we end up with today. Well, that to me felt very much a heart song, so I hope that that's how you experienced it as well. To end, I'd like to remind you to hit that subscribe button. As I said at the beginning, if you would like an individual reading, I do those. Log through the website, my web address at the bottom of the description page, and there is a form on there that will send through a message to me, and I can get back in contact with you. Thank you very much for bringing your energy to today. I really enjoyed it. As I say, I hope this resonated for someone out there. hit that subscribe button, thumbs up or thumbs down as to whether you liked it or didn't like it. Until tomorrow, love you all.